All right, the last thing I want to try and do with our MIDI visualizer and manipulator here is add some additional harmonies to our MIDI inputs. So kind of like a harmonizer, or turn a single note into a chord situation. So let's open up the patcher. Let's go out of patch, go into patching mode. I realized earlier that I kind of doubled up a little bit in the last step. You can see here I've got two live number boxes that are labeled. So probably don't need that. So I'm going to delete this one and reconnect this one in its place, just so that it keeps the stuff in presentation happy. And I'll just put that there as my extra little thing. And then this extra velocity, probably don't even need the velocity in the transposed section, to be honest, because it's going to be the same. The transposition doesn't really affect that, but I don't know. We can kind of just leave it there for now. What I want to do finally is, like I was saying, add some harmony, or like an additional interval, at least one, to this MIDI input. So we just need to make a little bit of space. I'm going to move this stuff up. Now really what we'd be doing ideally is encapsulating a lot of this work, or finding ways to kind of make it a bit neater, but I just want to kind of keep everything on screen so you can kind of see what's going on. So this is our input here. Really this is our transposed output here, so I'll pop that down there. Maybe I will just ditch the MIDI, the velocity for now. So I'll delete that, and I'll delete it from the presentation as well. Move this transposed section up a bit. Now what I do want is a harmony, or a chord or a harmony. So let's copy this label, duplicate. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to call this, let's just call it chord. Great. And then to make this chord, what we need to do is essentially take this transposition idea, but add it to another voice. So if I take, this could work, copy these or duplicate these, put them under here. And then what am I going to want to do? I'm going to need another addition box. So if I duplicate that, put this over here, and another transposition, and kind of all this as well, and the bang. So I'm going to take that, pop this over here. Probably could have done this a little bit more sequentially, but let's take the output from this addition box and put it into here, and the output of this transpose into here. So and then take the output of the plus into our number box, and then the output of our number box into the left input of the flush. What this is going to allow us to do is to add a interval. So if I put this here and rename this to interval, let's go into presentation mode and see how this is panning out. Very messy. I've got to stop copying those. But here's our chord. I can see the ones that are the new ones because they're kind of out of line. So that one, number, that one, number. Let's drag that over here. The one thing I can't see is my interval. Oh, here it is, interval. There. So what this is going to allow us to do, I'll go back into patching mode. This is going to copy the MIDI number that we're getting in, or the MIDI note, and I can either leave it the same or add an interval to it, and that'll create an additional note that is this far away from the original. So let's take this bang as well and plug that also into the left inlet of the flush and try this in action. I'm going to lock the patcher. I'll do it in here so we can see it working first, and then play our loop. And then if I increase this interval, because you can see here, even though it's actually these notes are getting played twice, even though it just sounds like one, they're probably be twice as loud if I found a way to turn this off. But now if I change the interval, you see this is 62 and this is 63. And then if I made it, or something like a fourth by going up 5 semitones, we get that. So now if I can save this and close it, let's have a look. Here we go. So we've got our input incoming MIDI. We can transpose the whole lot. This is just for interest. This is what we get out of the transposed input. And then we can make a chord by adding a second MIDI note. Now I wonder, will this work if I had 2 notes at once? So there's our 2. Cool, so it works nicely. It works very nicely if you have 2 notes as well. This is great fun. One thing I did mention though is that even if this is set to 0, it's kind of doubling up on the original note. It's still getting played, so it'd be cool if we could turn that voice, that chord voice off. So let's see what's one way we could do that. One way we could do that would be to, I wonder if there's a simple way, or if that's getting a little bit too in-depth. Maybe a little bit too in-depth for now. But what we could do is, if we wanted another chord voice, copy all of these. And I said I wouldn't copy anymore, but I'm doing it. So copy everything to do with this first additional chord voice. Copy, duplicate. Let's just put it next to it here, because otherwise we run out of space. We just need to connect up the output from our original note and take the output of the number, put it into the flush, output of the bang, put it into the flush. Check our presentation mode. Again, it's got very icky, but let's we can have a look. Hold down shift, click on the ones that seem out of place, move them over. Cool. Save that. Now we should be able to make a 3-note chord with our original. I've just got to change that name to transposed input. That seems to make sense to me now. And this now would be interval 1. And this would be interval 2. That seems pretty self-explanatory actually. Oops. Just interval. Cool. All right. This video is going for way longer than I wanted it to, so let's check the functionality. Cool. Single notes. Transpose it. Cool. Add an interval. Lovely. Make that maybe 5 semitones. Add another interval. Great. All from our 1-note sequence here, so we can have a bit of fun. See all of our notes coming around here. Of course, we've got our instrument here that we can play with. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Our key slider here doesn't visualize the notes of our chords at this stage. Just the bass note or that input incoming MIDI note. Does it reflect the transposition? It doesn't even reflect the transposition, but that's okay. I'll give myself 30 seconds. Can I find a way to turn off these other messages when I have this interval at 0? Because that's what I'd love to have them off if that was at 0, without having to press any other buttons. To do that, what would we need? This is just me freestyling here, but we'd need to gate this number. So I'm going to click on that cable, type in gate. This is ruining my layout, but that's okay. Let's put this down here for now. I'll zoom in so we can see what we're doing. But basically, this number's going into a gate. So 0 closes the gate, non-zero opens it. This is almost perfect. That cable should go into the left, and the output of my interval should go into the right. So that means that when it's on 0, no transposition, this gate gets closed and this number doesn't get sent. And otherwise, it does. So that's kind of perfect. Maybe if I hold Shift Command Y, I can neaten up some of these cables here. Just to get it looking a little bit less confusing. Shift Command Y. Not that one yet, but this one also, Shift Command Y. Okay, cool. Let's put the same gate on our second chord voice. So click on the cable, Shift N, type in gate. The only problem is we need to move this cable over to the right inlet like that, and then take the output of this interval, put it into the gate, Shift Command Y, Shift Command Y. Fantastic. We can even almost squish this back in here now. Save, close. So now, definitely only one note, because when the interval is on 0, the gate is closed. Let's add a second one. Cool. Oh. Last little design flaw. On my interval, I can't go lower than 0. So, and I imagine that's the same with my transpose. I can go up, but I can't go down. So last thing, definitely took more than 30 seconds to do this, but on the transpose number box, Command I, scroll down to the range here, and rather than going from 0 to 127, why don't we just split the diff and make it minus 63 to plus 63. That should work. And I want to do the same for this interval and this interval. Now, I don't know if I can change both of these parameters at once. Let's give it a try. So minus 63 and then 63. Ooh, looks like it worked for both. That's great. Minus 63, and then this one, minus 63. Awesome. Save, close. So now I can transpose down. Yeah, cool. And then here. Oh, why not? This video's already gone for too long anyway. What I would love is if these were off to not see any notes here on this chord. So I think that's just a case of me moving this gate. Sorry, everybody. Rather than the gate being here, what if I put the gate here? No, it'll still have some value. Anyway, that's it. That's enough for now. That's fantastic. Very happy with that. Save, close. So we've got a MIDI device that shows us the velocity, the incoming velocity of and the MIDI note number, the note in like kind of a pitch value. We can transpose our note. We can see the transposed values going out there, and then we can also create a chord. You could eventually, I'd love to see on your ones 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 voices in your chord, or 4 additional voices. There's space for it. There's definitely space for it. So yeah, good luck. Can't wait to see what you make of this.